Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek pod thing. My name's Jake, and I'm joined by
Chris,
Ames,
and Caitlin.
This is episode 98.
Woo!
Next week we'll have 98 SE, and the following week, ME.
No, we won't.
is that a Microsoft Word joke? What is that?
Office.
Ah.
I know Windows rather.
Windows,
yeah.
98. Then there's 98 SE, there's ME.
When do we get...
XP, Vista, 7, 8, 10.
When do we get 98 degrees? That's what I need to know.
No, we had to turn the air conditioner off.
So pretty
very soon.
All right, well, that's a good point. This week, we'll be talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. The first is The Wounded. The Wounded.
Yeah, I don't get the title.
Because they were wounded.
Psychologically.
Meh.
In the war.
I'll do the synopsis. So, in The Wounded, the Enterprise is attacked by a Cardassian ship. This is the first time we've met the Cardassians.
Love them.
So
Are we keeping up with them, though?
we are.
Is that what the show's called?
Yes.
It is, right? Okay,
Yes.
great.
So we're
Staying
attacked by
away
these
from the
Cardassians, and the Enterprise is like, what the fuck? So eventually they manage to disable the Cardassian ship, and they're like, what the fuck, Cardassians? And Gul Dukat comes on and says,
he doesn't have the swagger
he
yet.
says, look at my goofy helmet. And they're like, yeah, that is a goofy helmet. And then he says,
This means
we're at war. And they're like, no, we're not at war. We used to be at war, apparently, but now we're not. And they're like, well, tell that to the guy that's flying around blowing shit up in a Federation ship. And
Picard's like, I will. Who is it?
so Picard calls his boss.
What's he call him?
He calls him a jerk.
Rotten
And then his
bastard.
boss is like, yeah, they're right, John Luke. Anyway, so his boss is like, yeah, we figured, this guy,
Benjamin
Maxwell House, he's gone rogue. He's taken his ship into Cardassian territory, and he's blowing shit up.
He's
So
gone full Tom Cruise.
Is this how we wound up at Shawshank after what he did here?
yeah, that's right. He was knocked down. Yeah, this guy just always plays a shit.
Oh, that's
exactly what I said.
Guy.
He was in Shawshank. We think he might have been in Dolores Claiborne, and he was definitely in
Demolition
Daredevil.
Man.
Well, I was going to say Daredevil, wasn't he? Wasn't he one of the ones that Fisk bitch slaps out of the way? I'm pretty sure he is.
Maybe.
Either way.
Always plays a turd.
Either way, this guy, the Benjamin Maxwell is played by the Warden from Shawshank. That's where you may know him from. Anywho, we try to track him down with the help of the Cardassians. They come on board. In the meantime, we find out that O'Brien was a crew member on Maxwell's ship back in the day and is close friends with him. And through him, we find out that the Cardassians, during the war, killed Maxwell's family in an attack. So the prevailing theory is, well, he might just be a little bitter about that.
Bit him, too.
Yeah.
Hey.
And we also find out that O'Brien himself has a little streak of the racism.
Yeah,
against
his wife calls him out on it.
You know what else we learned?
The Cardinians. What?
The cardamom. We also learned that O'Brien has apparently never eaten a single meal with his wife before.
Yeah, well, because...
they don't love each other. They just don't.
Did you see that garbage that she served him?
Yeah, but, why was he surprised?
Well, I don't know.
They
We'll
could
get to
both.
that.
They could both do better somehow.
Maybe she had previously been... Well,
I don't know if he can.
Well, you see,
But
probably...
wait, we're not even through the synopsis
Yeah, we gotta
yet.
get through the synopsis. We'll talk about the synopses later.
Oh, somebody's cranky.
So, there's a confrontation in 10 Forward where O'Brien tells one of the Cardassians, I had to kill one of your buddies, and it made me feel sad, and that's why I hate you. And eventually we catch up to Maxwell. Turns out he is a...
Crazy person.
He is saying that he has reason to believe that the Cardassians are arming up and they're getting ready to make a sneak attack against the Federation, and his mission, he took it upon himself to uncover this plot, and Picard's like, you're a fucking asshole, you can't just do that. Maxwell's
I don't think Picard's done that many times.
Maxwell's like, all right, brown noser, fine, you can escort me back to Federation space. And then Maxwell unsurprisingly deviates course to go after some more Cardassians, and he's like, Picard, look, go board that ship and you'll see what I've been saying is the truth, that they are smuggling weapons. And Picard's like, I'm not going to do that, you're under arrest. And Maxwell's like, I'll blow it up. I'll do it. I'll seriously do it. And Picard's like, hey, O'Brien, go over there and talk some sense into him. So O'Brien does. And then they sing a song and everyone's happy. And that's basically the end. And we still don't know for sure whether or not Maxwell was right, but it's strongly implied that he was. But it doesn't matter because got to keep the peace. Peace in our time, declared Picard. Peace in our time. Appeasement. Chamberlain, famously.
Also said, we'll be watching you, though.
Every breath you
Every
take.
breath you take.
Every move.
So that was The Wounded. The next episode we'll discuss is Devil's Due.
Devil's doo-doo.
In this episode, we're hailed by a dude on a planet that's like, hey, the planet's going crazy. Like, everyone's freaking out. And when they get there, they're like, why is everyone freaking out? And the guy's like, well, because they all believe that tomorrow the devil, known as Ardra on this planet, is going to return after 1,000 years to collect on a debt, which means that she's going to enslave the people of this planet. Oh, and by the way, the people are rioting, and they've taken a bunch of Federation people, I guess. I think they were hostage.
Scientists, yeah.
Yeah, Federation scientists hostage. So Picard's like, well, shit, we gotta get these hostages back. So he beams down, he talks to the leader, the planet leader's like, yep, we're definitely gonna have the devil tomorrow. And and Picard's like, well, shit.
Well, this is a devil of a time for us to show
And he's like,
up.
well, what's your evidence? They're like, well, the prophecy said that, there'd be earthquakes, and there's been earthquakes, and then there's visions, and yeah, we're just pretty sure it's gonna happen. And then, and Picard's like, yeah. All right, let's just get the hostages back. And then, who would you know it shows up but Ardra herself.
Dun, dun,
Sexy,
dun.
sexy Satan Ardra.
Very sexy.
Yeah, she's hot.
She's like, hey, I own the planet now, and for some reason I also own the Enterprise, so...
Because she said that she would get everything on the ground, in the air, and anything orbiting it.
I guess so.
Maybe they had a really nice moon, and she really wanted it.
Maybe. So, anyway, she's
like
like, I am the devil, and then she does all sorts of, like, devil magic stuff. She makes people disappear, she transforms herself into monsters and stuff, and makes the ground shake, and does all this crazy stuff, and Picard's still not quite buying it. Everyone on the planet's like, well, so then she, like, tries to seduce Picard in his quarters, but he's not having that either. Loser.
Seriously.
And then he's like, asks Data, he's like, hey, Data, is there any way out of this contract? And Data's like, let me find out. And he's like, here's one way. We can have an arbitration. So Picard says to Ardra, he's like, hey, why don't we, arbitrate this dispute? And Ardra's like, fine, I'll challenge you. I'll make a bet with you. If I win, I get to keep you and the planet and have sex with you.
And if you win, you get this fiddle made of gold.
That's right. And the captain said, well, my name's Jean-Luc, and it may be a sin, but I'll take that bet you're going to regret. I'm the best that's ever been. He rosins up his bow. He
plays his fiddle hard.
Because hell's broke loose on Ventax 2,
yeah.
And the devil has all the cards, or has the card.
Holds the cards?
Holds the card?
Like
yeah,
that?
devil
So
holds
and
the
a
cards.
violin in the other hand.
Listen, she can
you,
make as many hands as she
when
wants.
you get this shiny fiddle made of gold, and if you lose, the devil gets your soul.
Yeah.
So they have the stupid trial, and Data's being a total tool the whole time. He's like, "Oh, I have to abide by the law of this land,"
He
which says
warned
that
Picard.
which says that like evidence doesn't matter.
They're Christian fundamentalists.
Apparently.
Yikes.
I thought they were Republicans.
So,
what I said.
but then in the meantime, Geordi has found where her hidden spaceship is. She's not actually the devil, duh. She's just a charlatan.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she's just a charlatan that's like, has a spaceship that she's doing all this. She's able to conjure all this stuff. So they have Riker go and take over the ship and give Picard the powers instead. And that proves to Data that she's not the devil and that the contract is null and void. So everyone lives happily ever after. And then she's like, I'll see you soon, Picardy. And we don't.
Now, wait, so Gull, what was his name?
Musset.
Was he played by Ducat's actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mark Alamo.
Yeah, that's the first Mark Alamo as Cardassian that we see. I enjoy the Cardassians thoroughly, and I'm going to have a problem when we get to Ducat because I won't be able to keep my pants on.
I think this was Ducat.
No, he didn't have the swagger and the chops.
Well, I think he was.
Ducat.
I think
he was
playing
wearing a
part.
thong on his head.
I think he was playing a part.
I do that all the time. What's the problem?
That's a good point.
Is Dukat in DS9?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard of Dukat.
He's the
but
main-
people seem to
the
not
main
like
ant-
Dukat.
Oh, I love.
No, he's an
Dukat.
He's the enemy. He's an antagonist.
Oh, okay.
So he's like a.
Beautiful
You love to
enemy.
hate him.
Yeah, okay.
And love to love him.
Yeah, the silly helmets and the weird armor.
Yeah, the armor looked like Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Yeah,
to me.
the Cardassians will get.
Yeah, their clothes
better
get much
clothes.
because I'm more used to DS9, so it's like, what is this? I vaguely recalled the stupid hats from photos. To me, the most ridiculous is the fact their armor like suggests the weird dip in their foreheads on the chest.
spoon.
Yes,
Hence spoonheads.
yes, but that's racist.
Well, it is.
I read that either the makeup artist or some other designer on the show like saw a painting like in passing a building once of a girl that looked like she had a spoon on her forehead, and that's where he got the idea.
Wow, so he
No idea what the painting was.
Stole someone else's art.
Yep.
Great.
That's what most art is.
I know, I was just gonna say that. That's so like everyone else, yeah.
So
Talking to you, Shakespeare.
now let's recap here.
Shakespeare wasn't even real names.
It was Chekhov.
Sometime not too long before TNG, there was a war with the Cardassians.
I was thinking about this, yeah.
There were the border conflicts with those people from
Sphinctolia.
Jono's planet?
yeah, Jono's people. Some level of to do with the Ferengi.
Yeah. Well, they never saw him, though.
No, but there was
The Romulans are always back.
yeah, like it just feels like the Federation is nowhere near as peaceful as people like to pretend.
Well, and then there's the
propaganda,
the
that's
Romulans
why.
are back.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
what is their
I was gonna
military?
say, but the Romulans being, it's funny because you just said that, but like, we're back. They've shown up like twice. They're not that back.
4 times now, I think.
Still, I'm just saying, they're
But,
not
like,
that back.
So here's my thing with so obviously there's Jono's people.
Yep.
But they were rinky-dink. They probably launched a surprise attack that killed Jono's parents, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, and then the Federation walked in and squashed on their heads.
Yeah. And I also get the sense that the Cardassians are somewhat of a second-rate power. Like, they're powerful, but, like, they're, Picard even says, like, your ship is...
Yeah, you're not gonna do well here,
You're
yeah.
at a disadvantage.
Well, but would they be at a disadvantage against, say, an Excelsior or a Miranda or one of the... Because this is a very new
that
ship.
Nebula class ship blew the shit out of them. And that's
Well, yes, but,
not
but if
exactly
you look at the components of the Nebula, it probably was designed around the same time as the Galaxy.
Yeah, but the reality is if they've actually been smuggling weapons, it's totally possible that their ship has way more than they think it should, unless they did a scan and could tell what they had.
Yeah.
But maybe they had some kind of thing to block their scan.
I think it's also eventually established that the Cardassians usually fight in small fleets instead of single
Kind of like
ships.
guerrilla shit, or do you mean like
Like
They don't like to go
They
one
don't-
on
yeah,
one.
they don't go
They like
one-on-one.
to have a
they
big.
do some like Centurion rank file shit, snares and special tactics?
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that the war was probably about, the Cardassians trying to annex Federation planets. Hence why they attacked the colony that had Maxwell's family at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Our friend Darrow says that was all a mistake, and they were also informed that planet was holding weapons and shit.
That's what he said. If he's all
Yeah.
truthful,
I like Darrow. So.
He seemed trustworthy.
Which one was that? The captain
That was,
hanging out on the ship with
No,
them?
no,
that
the,
was
like,
O'Brien.
aide.
That was the guy O'Brien fucking vomited on
Oh, in
in the
10
bar.
forward?
The universe's only not fully black-haired Cardassian. He kind of had like highlights. It was weird.
Well, he dyes
He's going
his hair.
through.
What's
He's
weird
going
about
through a
that?
phase.
I
Yeah.
mean, point is, I don't think the Cardassians were a huge threat to the Federation. I think there was probably a war, and it probably dragged on. But
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a huge threat to other races. So.
Yeah, I mean, we know from DS9 that they're like imperialist, but they're not. No one really considers them much of a threat until they team up with
Yeah.
some really powerful guys.
Because they're snake-like in makeup and in manner.
Yeah, they're very lizardy. But yeah, no, I just mean, like, I feel like TNG, if anything, is rather the exception than the rule, where we found the Federation in a point where they're not really actively at war with anybody.
Universe is a dangerous place.
No, that's true. And then again, in DS9, we'll be right back into a state of war within a couple of
And
seasons.
it's also the universe is enormous. No matter what, you're gonna find some race that wants to beat the crap out of you instead of make peace.
Yeah. I mean, you always
And the
have
Borg are always there.
That's true.
to pop up.
If it ever gets bored.
There is that
boring,
war.
you know.
Only that war isn't
Borging.
really a consensual war because the Borg just doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah, no, it's not so much a war.
Not a
as-
consensual war? What is that?
Well, it's not like both sides sat down and declared war on one another. The Borg are a force of nature.
Also, we get...
It's like fighting a cloud.
We get
Yeah.
so much. I mean, everything we know about Star Trek is through the Federation perspective, and the Federation.
And
That's why I
Starfleet's
say it.
perspective.
That's why I'm saying it's propaganda. Because they're just
exactly.
spinning history however they want.
And like, if you think about it, basically, the Federation goes out and they're like, "Hey, listen, you want to trade? We're the people you got to trade with. We got all this. We got supplies. We can offer protection. Come into the fold." Oh, and by the way, we're going to obliterate your culture and replace it with human culture.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you like root beer.
They also keep establishing colonies without being sure no one has laid claim to the planet. And that goes back to TOS, because that was the whole issue the Gorn had. Was they were like, this is a planet we claim, and you just set up shop without checking. The same thing could be said for Jono's people, for whatever else. They just keep going like, well, this planet's empty. Guess it's ours.
I bet it has resources. Maybe there's delicious dilithium.
Yep. Oh, God, so much.
Yeah, it's definitely... Yeah, it feels very like America and oil and whatever.
Also, just that, it's like the spreading of democracy. It's...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I wanna like actually trust Darrow's side of the story when he says that was a huge mistake on Cardassian's side. Thanks for telling me the story, O'Brien, about how you murdered one of us and feel bad about it, though.
But
That's great.
But see, so here's what he said. He says that was a mistake, but he also says we were told that it had this. So could it have just been that the people in charge, the Cardassian commanders,
Probably Ducat being awesome.
Yeah, well, he would have been elsewhere at this point, but
He might not be a gull yet.
Oh.
No, he would have been running
oh, yeah, you're right.
Tarak Nor at this point.
That sort of feels like Palestine and Israel, how they keep blowing up each other's schools because
Oh, man, just wait till we get to DS9.
That's all. Yeah.
the Cardassians.
There's a whole...
It's a very,
thing.
very political.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I got it. I got it right, guys.
Yeah, we are not
it's
smart enough to have
definitely-
those
Because it
conversations.
feels like that, though. It feels like the whole, we're going to blow up your school because we think that there's weapons. Oh, just kidding. Just kids, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see, if you were in charge of the Cardassian military and you're like, well, we want to launch an attack on this Federation colony, but we're not quite sure we're going to get the rank and file on board. All you have to say is, yeah, they've got weapons
of mass destruction.
Yeah, that's where they're launching their attack from. There's train cars full of chlorine gas manufacturing.
I read a little bit that there's levels of commentary on the Gulf War in this episode. In that the U.S. did everything it could to start the war and get into the fucking military shenanigans, and here in this episode, Picard is doing everything he can to prevent it, even bringing in his own guy and threatening to blow up his own Federation ships.
Reminded me a little bit of just the grand plot reminded me a little bit of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I
But
can
that's
see
the
that.
Vietnam flick, right?
That's a Vietnam one where the general or the whoever
Marlon
Colonel
Brando.
Colonel Kurtz.
Colonel Kurtz goes rogue
Launches his own...
And ape shit, by the way.
and Charlie Sheen has to go not Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen. That'd be funny with Charlie Sheen. Martin Sheen has to go
Charlie Sheen, the only person crazier than Marlon Brando, probably.
and they slaughter a cow on camera. It's interesting.
They don't. It was definitely not alive.
Really?
You can tell.
It looks terrifying.
It does, and I was really, so I've always avoided that film for that very reason. But then one day we decided to watch it, and I, made myself watch, and you can tell that it must have been dead because it doesn't bleed.
Okay, so
Maybe
so it was a cow's corpse.
Maybe
at
it
least.
was
That's what I'm saying. I
maybe it
think
was a
They butcher.
lightsaber.
I'll change it. They butcher a cow on camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm pretty sure it was a dead cow. Because the blood would have hardened and stuff, so
Could they have immediately cauterized the wounds?
only if they actually had a lightsaber.
That's my thought.
Or that toast knife
But
from
lightsabers
the...
are not real.
Now, when you
Hitchhiker's
watch,
Guide
And
to
did
that
you,
toast
did you
knife
watch,
did not exist yet.
The horror.
So yeah. Yeah, Cardassians, horror, Colonel Kurtz with his own little spaceship, which I didn't make that connection, but yeah, I can see that. That's pretty good.
Colonel Kurtz with his own little spaceship.
Toot toot. Like he does. What did you think, Aesthetics Pennant, about the Gaylord class cruiser? Is it Gaylord or Galore?
I have no idea.
I know.
I
don't
mostly
think
It's
we
like
put it up.
galore.
Really? Okay.
Galorn and core.
God damn you, Jake.
I mostly know Federation ships. That's where my heart truly lies. No, but it's a good, I'm very used to it because I watched a lot of Deep Space Nine, so, it's a good, solid ship. We're going to see a lot of it over the years. Vaguely yellowy, which is, different, certainly, to the green, gray, and
Lots of
light blue we've seen up to this point throughout all the various races.
and
and
these are maroon.
Yeah, they're sort of croissant ships.
Croissant ships.
Is it
Sounds
supposed
delicious.
to look kind of like a cobra? Is that why?
Oh,
I
it does,
heard,
doesn't
I
it?
heard scorpion, but cobra I like too.
Because they're kind of snaky.
Yeah, and they have kind of like that frilled head.
That's interesting.
And I like the
Their
little tail
necks
at the
are
end. The little tail is very scorpion-y.
What was the
Yeah, that's true.
what was the ship called? What kind of class ship was it?
Galore, Galor.
If you just look up Cardassian
It's
Yeah,
up,
it'll
it's
be
up
the
on
first
the
one.
it's on the poster somewhere. I think.
Yeah, it's the one on the right.
Yeah, I don't think they really...
in front of the.
How do you spell Cardassian?
Cardassian.
Well, just like it sounds.
But while you look that up, and the Nebula class, not bad. Again, trying to do something with galaxy-type
like that one?
components.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being kind of scorpionish.
Yeah, totally.
It makes sense to me, but it's got no claws. It's just got like a tail.
Like it's a little silly with claws in space.
But it looks silly anyhow.
Wow.
Which one was the other ship?
The Phoenix, it was Nebula class.
Okay. It
Sort of
looked like
the-
nothing to me. So
It was basically the Miranda
It
class,
was a
but
flirt.
galaxy.
It was like they threw a frisbee in
Well,
space.
it was weird. They put it reminded me of those I think they're like reconnaissance planes that they have, where they have like the big radar
on top,
thing
yeah.
on top. That's what the
Which I think was kind of implicit, what they because later on O'Brien's able to break through their shields because they have a special high energy sensor or something, he said.
yeah.
So I think that's probably they probably are like a recon or scout type vessel normally, and they wanted to suggest that with the big ass dish.
So I actually kind of I think this is a kind of a controversial episode, but I like it because
No, yeah, that was really good.
Controversial, why?
Controversial in that not everybody likes O'Brien yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely don't like O'Brien yet.
I don't think he's acting yet. I don't think he's gotten enough acting classes.
I
to be
think
given
that
more than one.
he's too married to
thing.
Keiko.
Well, I
That's
think,
what
I think,
That's-
I think this is the first episode where he does kind of start to become an
Other than
independent-
get married.
an independent character, like
But even then, they fell back on a lot of Irish stereotyping.
we like to eat our meat and potatoes.
Let me
Where's the
sing,
beef?
minstrel boy.
What do you mean you've never had corned beef?
Ah, you
Hey.
kissed the stone. Hey, right, Chief. He's like, yes, I find this charming and not at all offensive.
Yeah,
Wonder
they
what
haven't-
Colmini really thought.
They haven't nuked the stone by now. Jeez.
Well, I mean, he already didn't. Wasn't he there for the? Wait a minute. Which series was the Weird Irish episode?
That was
this
season
series.
2, I think.
Was he there for that?
He
Yeah.
was. He transported them up.
Right. So I mean,
I'm amazed he
compared
didn't
to-
quit
I
then.
was gonna say, so compared to that, I'm sure he wasn't too bothered by the.
It's true. Yeah, so you kind of were starting to talk about it during the intro, but how had these two not known what their eating habits were before getting married?
Arranged marriage?
Either
By
that-
Data? Data doesn't know how
Good job,
people
Data.
work yet.
Like, you really get the sense they didn't actually know each other before they got
Well,
married.
we
It's
never
weird.
met Keiko before they.
No,
got
that's
married.
true, but it's like-
it wasn't arranged marriage. She just showed up that day,
Yeah.
and it makes a lot more sense why she had such cold feet.
Mm.
Maybe she put on some shoes.
Right?
I
Slippers.
my suggestion to that was that people don't go on food dates anymore because they're in a post scarcity society or whatever. So maybe they.
Yeah, you just replicate what you want for
Yeah,
dinner.
exactly. Yeah.
Like
What do
that.
you want? And your significant otter gets what they want.
So, which is weird because why wouldn't you do that? Like, the whole reason you tend to eat the same food when you're,
Cooking two separate meals. is a
yeah,
pain
that's
in the
ridiculous. But if you have a replicator,
Yeah, like
I want tacos every night,
Every night.
and you can have whatever you want.
dick. And for breakfast.
Yeah, no, like
There would be
it's-
so many tacos, Jake. Jesus Christ.
So this whole you can
Why
still
stop at
enjoy a
Taco
meal
Tuesday?
together, but there's no reason to replicate the same thing.
Eat that garbage
I will
that
say
Keiko's
though,
eating.
of the two options, Keiko's was better.
Better what?
The better dinner, because the Chiefs all
Well, first of all, it was breakfast.
was it okay?
And second of
it's a good
all,
breakfast.
it was garbage.
Yeah, but then O'Brien, after all his big talk about making this big fancy meal, basically shows up with hot potato salad.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was
really?
a little...
Really?
I'm sorry,
With
you're-
capers.
I'm sorry, but you're capers are amazing. So you
Yeah, but
shut
they
your
don't
whore
belong in
mouth.
hot potato salad.
Says you. Maybe they do.
Why didn't he just make like shepherd's pie, like something that
Right?
people would actually
I
like
assumed
corned
he
beef
would.
and cabbage.
Yeah.
That's what
I
he was
don't know.
talking. Maybe Keiko's a vegetarian.
I mean, I know Irish food isn't exactly renowned for its flavor. But,
I mean, to paraphrase, I think it's Dennis Leary, you just put everything in a pot and boil it for 17 hours so you can eat it with a straw.
yeah. And like the fact that she was so shocked that O'Brien's mother cooked meals. She handled meat with her hands.
Did anyone tell her that Picard worked on a fucking vineyard before?
You know, O'Brien was sitting there like, wish you'd handle my meat.
Oh.
Yikes. But if everything's replicated, being vegetarian would still mean you could eat meat. Because it's not real meat, it's replicated meat. So vegetarians could eat it because it's not actually
Every
harming
time
any
you
creatures.
replicate a meal with meat, you have to go and shoot somebody on the ship.
It's like pushing daisies.
Every time you replicate meat, God kills a kitten.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess that has never really come up in Star Trek. Whether or not,
Vegetarianism?
like they mentioned that Vulcans tend to be, but
Yeah, but maybe they don't have replicators. They seem kind of old school.
they haven't yet addressed if a Vulcan in Starfleet could like order a hamburger and it would be above board.
I have a feeling there just aren't enough other animals on Vulcan for them to eat.
Well, it's amazing they
Yeah,
have
but
plants
I was
even.
gonna say it's a fucking desert. What do they eat?
Algae.
Tumbleweed? Like
Probably algae.
how? Where's the water coming from? They live on a desert
Hydroponics.
planet.
Underwater caves.
Where'd they get the water to
I
begin
mean,
with?
not underwater caves.
In the
Underground
caves.
caves which have lakes.
We've
Water
really only seen like the wilderness of Vulcan though.
Yeah.
Is there more of Vulcan that we have
There's
to...
probably, I can
Cities.
imagine there's got to be cities, and there's probably like we've seen all their sacred sites, which happen to be in the desert. But
Actually, yeah, and eventually in Enterprise we see like a house.
yeah,
They have
I'm sure they
fridges.
have. Like, there's no way they're evolving as a species unless
Gasp.
the Romulans were first and the Vulcans were the sect that broke away. Oh. And that they were just lying about the Romulans being the breakaway.
Because
But
we know
Vulcans
how
can't
much
lie,
they lie.
Jake.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I know. That whole thing was weird. So that they like seemed unaware of one another's habits.
I agree. I think
It's
that's bizarre.
really a strange choice by the writers.
Well, I mean, I would think it was just to show married life.
Yeah, but it was a really terrible way of doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say to further the stereotype that being married sucks. Being
Especially
married
to Miles.
I was gonna say being married to O'Brien or Keiko probably does suck a lot.
I still say what she made for breakfast looked good.
It didn't.
It looked like random plants she picked out
It
of
was-
the botany room.
It was literally kale something something. She
And
said
steamed rice. I
plankton
like
something
nice steamed
something.
rice.
Oh, there was steamed rice in there?
She
Yeah,
didn't mention any rice.
No, it was in the middle. It was like all
Why
atop.
didn't she mention it?
I thought that was a big wad of mozzarella. That was
Oh, and if that's the case,
That's
then I
even
vote
better.
for
Yeah,
that.
no, that's
Well, if it was mozzarella, I'd be into it. But since it was some fucking plankton, kale, seaweed bullshit,
Well, she's
over
a
rice.
botanist.
like she slaved over that replicator for about 8 seconds.
I think it was even that long.
She had to say the order.
You sure she wasn't just like, make my mom's secret recipe? And it shat out whatever that was?
Maybe.
It's still 8 seconds.
I
It did
still
look
think
good.
I would still contend that unless we do find out we do see instances where characters are actually cooking, like Riker's delicious
Oh
looking
God,
omelet.
Yeah.
well,
But there, so cooking is a thing that you can do, and in which case that makes sense. But if you're replicating, as they clearly were, you wouldn't force somebody to eat something shitty. And if they did, that's grounds for an annulment.
Yep.
Well, that would be the second ground, since I'm pretty sure that they've never touched each other.
Yeah, that's true. So anywho,
What
else?
Oh, speaking of O'Brien, so he used to be the tactile officer for
The
Maxwell.
tactile?
What did I... What?
Tactical.
Tactical. I wrote tactile like an idiot. Yikes.
It's true.
Actually, he
everyone on the ship would touch him a lot.
he was the textile officer. He made beautiful blankets.
But anyway, yeah, so if he went down, I think, when he took transporter chief, that seems like a demotion.
I think this is I feel like
probably 'cause he
this
killed
has
that
to be
Cardassian.
apocryphal because something's messed up. Because he said on numerous occasions, like when he was talking to Worf's dad, that he was not an officer, that he was he's an enlisted.
Yeah, he's a chief petty officer.
Yeah, he's a.
What's the difference between that and
So
the rest of Starfleet?
Oh, there's commissioned officers, which is officers. So, like,
They went to the academy.
ensigns, lieutenants, and then there's enlisted people, which is crewmen, and then there's NCOs, which is what O'Brien is, Chief Petty Officers, a non-commissioned officer, which means that...
That's also, I think, enlisted.
It is enlisted.
Work your ass
that's
off
what the non-commissioned means, right?
Yeah.
So he's...
Does that just mean he didn't go to the academy?
He didn't go to the
That
academy.
he signed up at
He's like the top rank you can get to without having gone to the academy.
Yeah, and I don't know about in Starfleet, but like if you look it up online, like in the real world, CPO is equivalent to like in the Army at least, it's some tier of sergeant, I want to say.
Yeah, but at any rate, I don't imagine. Maybe this is the case, but I don't imagine. We've never seen an instance where a non-commissioned officer was on the bridge crew of a starship. I would find it odd if he were the tactical officer. Usually, I think that would go to someone who had been to the academy.
Well,
and also, if he was a tactical officer, what was he doing in ground combat operations, defending a city?
Well, I mean, Worf is tactical and security, and he goes down to planets all the damn time.
That's true.
It seems like if you're tactical, you are also by default part of the security forces in Starfleet, so they don't really have a Marine Corps, as it were.
But I don't think he would have gone down in rank. The only other explanation I can think of is that the Rutledge was like a rinky-dink little ship, and that...
Well, everybody wants to be on the Enterprise, so maybe he would have been willing to take a demotion or whatever.
Well, the other thing is that you will have in time of war is occasionally NCOs will be able to sort of do stuff they normally wouldn't be allowed to do in peacetime.
Oh, because like they just need somebody to do it now?
Like a field commission? Like
exactly.
He was temporarily promoted to lieutenant because the tactical officer got blown up by rocks.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know what, he's good at it, let's let him ride this out through the end of the war, and so on.
Possible. And then we'll lock him up in the transporter room and never let him see his wife again.
Well, I think this episode shows a lot of things. Yeah. I think, though, if anything, this episode shows that he has a lot of unresolved issues from the war.
Yeah.
With his wife, yes.
So I could totally see, like in a PTSD situation, being like, yeah, I don't really want to have the action of being a tactical officer anymore, or, being involved in combat. I would rather just be in a peaceful place like the transporter room where nothing bad really happens until a person turns inside out or something.
Well, and especially...
And then exploded.
And if we assume, because we don't know, and I don't know if this is ever established, if he enlisted before the war started, he may have just enlisted, see the galaxy, dip around, and then all of a sudden he's caught up in a war. It's like, you know what? I just, like you said, now this is over. Can I just be away from bullshit? Because this is awful.
Yeah, let's take him on the Enterprise, the ship that's always getting itself in trouble. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but technically they're meant for exploration, so he at least had the right idea.
Yeah.
Exploration of dangerous fucking things.
And definitely if you had PTSD, then the transporter room is probably one of the better places to be.
Whose PTSD is bigger, O'Brien's or Maxwell's?
Maxwell,
for sure.
So, what the fuck, Maxwell's crew?
Yeah, they should have fucking mutinied way early, or at least been like, you know what we should do is talk to Starfleet HQ first. Or listen to Picard. Or when Picard hails us 85 times, say, hey, here's what we're doing.
That's the thing, before Picard shows up, I suppose it's possible that he pulled the classic, I have secret orders from Starfleet and none of you can question them. Because as we've seen, that is never questioned until it's too damn late.
Well, it also looks like just based on how O'Brien feels about him, that he commands a ton of loyalty from those people underneath him. So for all we know, he's convinced his crew that this is the right course of action.
They could flip. If you demand loyalty from folk, they will flip. Is what we're learning in fucking politics today.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying he seems like
he earned it.
He earned the loyalty. He wasn't like a tyrant. It sounds like he was a genuinely good commander who earned the respect and loyalty of his crew. Yeah. To the extent
How long ago was the Cardassian? What was the fucking thing it set 3 or whatever it was?
We don't know, but we know
the exact timeline.
Well, we know that the war had been going on for a long time because Picard because Picard had fought the Cardassians
On the Stargazer.
Which was like 12 years earlier at this point. So could it be anywhere from 12 years or more, I guess?
Yeah.
Or it could be more recent. I don't know. We get the sense, I think we kind of get the sense during DS9 that the war is not that old. That it's probably maybe 5 years, 5 to 10 years possibly. Hints, but who knows?
Yeah.
Right, so he's had his family, like, he's gone crazy relatively recently.
It's been festering, but yeah.
Well, it could also be that he legitimately detected that, it's not like he went Colonel, what's his name?
Kurtz.
It's not like he went Colonel Kurtz. He may have had legitimate belief, and I think maybe that combined, like a mild amount of crazy plus belief that the legitimate evidence that there's something fishy going on.
I don't know, when he says to Picard, like, oh, I have my reasons, and then pulls full press secretary and not answering any fucking questions that Picard poses to him.
Well, yeah, he's definitely gone off the deep end. I think he probably also knows that he's really fucked.
Yeah.
Even before O'Brien sings a song at him, a song about dead Irish kids.
I think he probably thought that if he could just get the evidence before the Federation caught up with him, they would be like, oh, you're a hero. You figured this out. Probably blowing everything up on sight wasn't the best move.
That's not how you get evidence if you kerplode all of it.
Yeah.
You know, it just occurred to me, this episode reminds me of Obsession a little bit.
A little bit.
Like the kind of descent into cuckoo nuts.
Yeah, getting really fixated on doing one thing.
Yeah.
That cloud killed my friend.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like that. I don't know. Sorry, I don't have anything else to
I
add.
mean,
it's
just that when you were just
comparison.
talking, I was like, oh yeah, that sort of reminds me of how Kirk was a total cuckoo nut.
Yep.
Yeah, I really liked Picard at the end when he's talking with Massette and then saying, like, you probably did it anyway, but I'm gonna upstand the peace. And he basically gives the Cardassians the "we're back" a la the Romulans, but to the Cardassians.
Yeah,
and
it was awesome.
And to Mark Alemo, which makes it come full circle, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
We're watching you.
We'll be watching.
And the Federation, I don't want to get too far ahead, but like they continually antagonize the Cardassians. Not directly, not like Maxwell, but there's clearly some bullshit going on. All in the name of peace and democracy, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's going to be a thing with Bajorans coming up, which is another species that's under the yoke of the Cardassians right now.
No spoilers.
But basically the Federation sticks its nose where it does not belong.
Well, and we've already seen that in the way that they kind of were, America being involved in like the South American Revolution stuff.
Sure. Yeah, there's some Banana Republic shit going on.
But what about Old Navy?
I blame the Vulcans.
Yeah, it's usually them.
Gave them big ol' ego problem.
Okay, I want to change directions a little bit. O'Brien's old friend Stompy.
Who fawned over him or whatever.
Yeah, who
followed
followed
him
him around
like
like
a
a puppy.
That's it. That's a little...
Who's got the best story for why his name is Stompy?
I imagined he's some sort of just really big alien we've never seen.
He's actually a sapient elephant.
He's actually literally a pair of boots that O'Brien wore because no one likes O'Brien.
Maybe he's a puppy. Maybe he is a puppy.
Oh, Stompy the puppy.
Poor Stompy, he died at that massacre.
Oh no, Stompy.
Jesus
I think
Christ.
he has all peg legs.
Oh. Does he
robot
tap
legs.
dance in them?
Yeah, ooh.
Yeah, I was sort of
Nice.
thinking robot, because robots are like heavy and...
Yeah.
Maybe he was known for walking in when somebody was trying to get busy with a lady.
With Data.
And he would stomp and it would ruin the moment.
Maybe because everyone in the future is obsessed with the 20th century, he had a particular fondness for Stomp. would always make people watch his performances in the holodeck.
And they'd be like, okay, we don't want to watch you banging on garbage pails anymore.
Maybe everyone
Stop
knows
being fun.
that his package is like the length of his leg, that he has to be careful not to stomp on.
Ah.
So he's like a tapir?
Yes.
Maybe he's just a tapir.
He could be a tapir. And a
a
puppy.
tapir alien species.
Dude, I would fuck all of them.
Oh, imagine
No, not really. Not really. Yuck.
Species
Sorry, I
of,
grossed
like,
myself out with that
giant sentient quokkas. They'd be adorable.
Oh, they're
What was,
cute.
what was his real name?
Oh, I didn't write his real name down. That
What
was
do you mean,
like,
what was
it
his
wasn't
real
What do you
name?
mean, what was his real
Oh.
name? His real name was Stompy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the guy, Maxwell asked, "What's your friend's name?" And Miles is like, "Oh, such and such." He's like, "I don't remember that was his name." He's like, "Oh yeah, Stompy." That's the
right.
one.
Maybe Maxwell was the kind of guy that gave everody a nickname.
Maybe.
And like
What was O'Brien's nickname?
like George Bush had
Potatoes.
nicknames for everybody.
Good old Mr. Potato Head over there.
It fits him.
Did they ever make an officially licensed Chief O'Brien Mr. Potato Head? Because if not, that is both
They'd all be
racist and a
frowny,
missed
though.
opportunity.
It would be nothing but frowny face because he's sad.
Yeah, no,
'cause
he
his
actually
wife hates.
would literally have nothing you could change on his face except his mouth, and it would just be a deeper and deeper frown. And maybe like my eyebrows are dipping down in sadness lines for his forehead or something. All right, I'm starving, and we have run out of things to talk about. So,
Yeah, well, we got one more episode.
Devil's Doo-Doo?
Devil's Do, which gives me like nightmare flashbacks to Magics of Megazast 2.
Oh yes,
Like,
So-
whoa.
yes.
I really hope that somewhere there is footage of a blooper reel. And I hope someday it winds up available to the public. Where what the fuck was her name?
Ardra.
Ardra shows up in Picard's bedroom.
Mm.
She says, "There is no Dana, only Zool." Because she looked like she had the big fucking
Yeah, she was
80s
doing
perm.
that.
She had the slinky outfit. I was like, this
Yeah.
is literally just that scene. Except Picard's not into it.
Are you the Keymaster?
Exactly.
I loved all
Picard
of her
clearly
costumes.
was not.
This episode was nominated for an Emmy in costumes, and I was like, yeah, all those dresses are gorgeous.
She did have some
Yeah.
cool costumes. That's about the only redeeming thing about this
I
episode.
don't know, her makeup looked good. I liked her little eyebrow thing.
The makeup was good,
The
yeah.
hair was nice.
Now, do we think that that's actually what that character looked like? Because she was so at the end of the day, she was a charlatan. She was full of shit. So, do we think that she just did herself up to look like the mythical Ardra?
Yeah, I don't know, because I was wondering that. Because if
or
so,
the hologram?
the what was-
No, because the other stuff is a hologram. If Picard, if that was a hologram, he would have tried it on.
Well, I'm not even.
Oh,
think-
yeah, he looked great in
I'm not even thinking about hologram. I'm just thinking like
makeup or
makeup,
surgery
like
or-
yeah.
Or maybe that's just her
Like,
face.
because obviously
Well-
this is a
Well, that's the
long
question.
con. Like,
Right, but to dress herself up like Ardra, like I'm assuming that 1,000 years ago, someone like wrote this shit down. They didn't necessarily take a picture of it. There's no pictures of like Jesus in the Bible. Or
Well,
But
like,
people recognize.
we don't know what God
but
looks
if people
like.
have been having visions of Ardra, how would they know it was Ardra?
because she was there 1,000 years ago, and they had like she was actually there 1,000 years ago, wasn't she?
No, I don't.
Probably
I
not.
think the implication
Do
is that
any-
she's just a
are any-
regular run of the mill.
are any of our myths
Oh,
actual
so she found
things?
out about the bullshit. I see. So that part I missed. So
Yeah, she's like someone that she got the Bible. She got a copy of the Bible
Yeah.
and then showed up dressed like Jesus and was like, "I'm here again.
Look at all the fishes and loaves
I
have.
told you I'd be back."
But yeah, so the
yeah,
question.
that's a good point.
Like
then.
the Romulans.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
She either made herself up to look like Ardra, or they
She
never
actually looks like Feckler.
never described Ardra. Either way, that is not an imaginative race. Because everyone else's devil figure was like a big creepy monster. Theirs is apparently
A sexy
Like
lady.
hot girl.
with slightly weird eyebrows.
And they also mentioned that she'd been pulling the same con on other nearby worlds.
What was the same con or just
or
cons?
a similar con, it sounded like, where she'd been showing up and doing magic
Oh.
and tricking people into doing stuff for her.
Good for her. It's nice work. if
But
you
like,
can get it.
I like what's still not clear to me is what exactly the end game was. Was she just gonna like
Enslave a race.
Well, I don't think she. It sounded because she was asking for like production information. So
It
was she just
sounds
gonna
like-
get them to give her a bunch of shit and then leave?
Probably.
Well,
That's not
she
a bad
also
plan.
looked like she was looking for some dick.
Yeah,
Mostly Picard's, but yeah.
Yeah, but like maybe.
but she had a
production and-
crew. They
and lots of
mentioned that
dick.
Yeah.
she had
Yeah,
a
we
crew
see them
on
at the
her
very
ship.
end.
So it wasn't like my guess is she was just gonna go there, bilk them out of some resources.
Probably
Picard.
hang around just long enough that people finally start to go, maybe this isn't a mythological creature.
Because I imagine she'd eventually get bored, too.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Like, I don't want to rule your fucking planet.
Well, her crew would get bored. They'd be like,
that too.
oh, we're stuck up here and she's down there.
Well, maybe she could
Getting all
eventually
that dick.
bring them down as her, every devil has a cadre.
Mm.
Would hers look like little mini hers a la Heat Miser in The Year Without a Santa Claus?
They
please?
do in my mind now.
I liked Picard's line of questioning to the leader about, did Ardra actually do anything?
Yeah.
Or
That was
did you,
good,
or
yeah.
did you just basically fix your society? And he's like, yeah, we basically just fixed our society on our own. So,
But she was totally there
but
once.
but we still credit her with it for some reason. I
Yeah,
thought that
well,
was-
because clearly this is a fucking race of idiots.
Oh yeah.
So, minor detail in the episode, but I feel is worth mining for all it's worth. Klingon craftsman.
Yeah.
I want to meet that guy.
Is it like Dwarven crafts?
Klingon
When did-
architect or
when did
something.
that
Well,
come
this
up?
brings up my whole
Hang
thing.
on. What? What are we talking
That was
about?
the
That was the precedent. The only other time there'd been an alien involved was a
Oh.
Klingon craftsman basically made someone's house pretty, and then they tried to bilk him on the bill, and he was like, the fuck? And clearly, when you're a Klingon craftsman, you just go, the fuck, and don't charge at someone with a batleth.
But that just goes back to my whole thing that we only generally see
The
Yeah.
warriors.
the warrior class. That there's probably a shitload of Klingons that are just like
Yeah, there's a nurse
architects
Klingon.
and builders, and
Is
I
there
just-
a
we did
sexy
meet a-
nurse Klingon?
We met a nanny.
We did.
But she was also
And
a
yes,
badass. She stabbed some dude in the back. So.
I just really love picturing a Klingon in a flouncy artist shirt stroke smock with
Little beret.
a beret balanced on the smooth part of his head.
I mean, we do know that Klingons are celebrated poets, and
True.
they like art opera and
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picturing the Klingon who works at a grocery store, and another Klingon customer comes in and is like, "Is this fruit fresh?" And the other Klingon is like, "You dare to question our honor!"
Can you imagine? Now I'm picturing Worf's first summer job at the nearby grocery store, bagging groceries. Now, Mr.
Are
Worf,
you sure these are the best deals in town?
Now, Mr. Worf, could you not put all of the heavy goods in the same bag again?
If I'm gonna put the watermelons on top of the potato chips, then that's what honor is for those potato chips. They died honorably.
If the chips cannot stand up to the might of the watermelon, they do not deserve to be in one piece.
That's really what this. That's someone get on the horn to CBS.
Yeah.
What we need is a young Worf. TV
But
series.
teenage Worf.
Teenage Worf.
Not in the academy, just dicking around on Earth.
And because we
Dixon
know
around.
that Klingons grow extraordinarily fast
Yes.
because of Alexander, teenage Worf is still a full-grown man.
Yeah.
It's still Michael Dorn, actually.
I like the idea that he leaves one day and he's his kid, and then he comes in the next day and he's Worf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd like to think he was
he
secret-
ages 20 days overnight, or 20 years
They
overnight,
just
and
paint
has a
some
beard and
acne
shit.
on Michael Dorn.
Oh, I bet he was. Yeah, and he has this really embarrassing. He was on the. But he's he likes to play up that. Oh yes, I play Parisi squares, and I'm a tough guy. He actually just secretly, truly loves volleyball and was the best volleyball player in his high school.
Do they play soccer? And if so, how do they head the ball?
This is the ball just
Very
deflates
carefully.
every time.
Damn it, Worf!
It's like catching the golden snitch. If you deflate the ball, the game's definitely over.
It's like that scene in Bedknobs and Broomsticks when the rhino tries to head the soccer ball.
Oh no!
Aww.
Yeah, deflates on his horn.
So anyway, so we see-
rhinoceros.
Oh right, the
We
episode.
see Worf, and Worf gets to meet a version of Fekler,
Yeah.
who is the Klingon guardian of Graythur. Because they apparently do not have a devil, they only have a guardian of their place where people who don't have honor go.
Well, it's like-
which is obviously
it's
where
like
Worf is
Hades,
going to go,
right?
because Worf has been stripped of his honor. So Worf should be freaked out right now.
Well, now here's the question though. Wouldn't, if you assume deities are real, wouldn't the deities know in fact...
Apollo is real.
True.
Yeah, he's a real alien.
wouldn't they know that his honor was in fact incorrectly stripped from him, and he'd get to go to
Valhalla.
Stovacor?
That's true.
That's what it's called.
Is it sort of like if you accept Jesus into your heart?
No, I think it's more like that, that dead Greek fucker. Who said, like, the truly great, like, the best person is the one who is good but thought bad or something.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't know if his honor, I don't think technically was stripped from him improperly because he basically took a plea deal. So
a little bitch.
Like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Still, to all of his society, he has no honor.
Well, I know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, but God doesn't care
he
about necessarily.
God's going to look at that. Klingon God is going to be like, all right, well, it turns out your dad wasn't a traitor, but you still admitted defeat.
Well, and he didn't clear his name.
But he did it for the greater good to keep the Empire in one piece.
Sure, but if he still didn't clear his dad's name, he's not only was he a little bitch, but he also did not remove the false dishonor on his father's name, and that's like double hell. They're inventing a new circle for him.
And I can say, because of Voyager, that Stovacor is actually real.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, this will be interesting in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Anyways, probably, again...
There's so many series.
It's amazing how we found ways to avoid actually talking about the episode.
Because not very
We're
good.
still talking about the episode. This is the
I mean,
episode.
it's not very good, but it's not as bad as I remembered it.
I thought it was going to be much dumber than it was.
It was pretty dumb.
Yeah,
but it was fine.
Picard got to do a magic show. That's fun.
Picard
got to wear his little tiny nightie.
This was like they were.
That was
some short shorts.
The writers' room. They were like, they found the script that had fallen behind a file cabinet from the first season.
Oh, no. This was a script that was originally planned for Phase 2.
Oh, so this predates season.
See, I was about to say, this sounds like it fell behind a shelf at
during
TOS.
Yeah.
If anything, this almost feels like a Harry Mudd scheme.
Yeah, like this was...
Oh, man.
This was originally, I think...
It would have been so much better if it was Harry Mudd.
I wonder if they were trying to set up the Ardra lady to be the Harry Mudd.
No, it would have been a man. Michael Piller changed it to a lady.
No, what I'm saying is because they end the episode
with her
being like, I'll see you real soon, Picard, or whatever she says when they're dragging her away to be executed.
And then she turns into Q.
I hope they have executions on that planet, because then her smug attitude would be... But no, I wonder if they were thinking like, oh, well, people are going to love this character. It's going to be like Harry Mudd, and we'll bring her back to do other hijinks. They keep
accidentally making Okanas.
Yeah.
Yeah, she.
I liked her way more than Okana.
Well, yeah, but I would like.
She had that pretty dress, so.
I would like dental surgery without painkillers more than I liked Okana. Probably. Hakuna Matata. What the fuck was his name?
Oh, fuck cares.
They said Okana, but it was spelled Okona, so who the fuck knows?
Okona coffee.
He was outrageous.
So the little Data performance at the beginning was cute.
I loved it.
Really? Oh, I didn't like it.
When he was doing
when he was being Scrooge.
His funny little voice.
He reminded me of Albert Finney. I kind of wondered if they were Albert Finneying that shit.
Maybe.
Albert Finney played Scrooge in the 1970 Scrooge.
No, it's actually called A Christmas Carol, I think, right?
No, it's called Scrooge.
No, the opening song is A Christmas Carol. I'm an idiot.
I liked when Bill Murray played Scrooge.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Scrooged.
And, of course, Patrick Stewart later plays him in...
Muppet. No, that's Michael Caine.
Yes.
Sorry, Michael Caine.
He played... Well, I think he did a stage version, and then it became like a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, I like Picard's comment that you're just learning all this acting stuff. You're closer to understanding humanity. And yes, but not acting.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny how when Picard's like, or when Data's like, yeah, I've been studying Stanislavski, and Picard's like, why would you study such a dated, technique?
I wonder what techniques are in the 24th century.
Because everyone does nothing but study Earth history. Like, everything's from
and of course, it's all like contemporary shit to our time.
Yeah,
like Stanislavski.
He named a couple other names. I don't know if they were actual people from
Adler's real. I forget what the other name was. I think they were
Meisner?
Presumably,
no, I
though.
hope not.
Presumably, since the first two were real, I assume the third one was.
Data doing the Meisner technique would be the most annoying thing.
I don't know that technique.
Oh, it's very hippy dippy.
It's a little weird.
Whose grandma made Dr. Clark's coat?
Dr. Clark.
Oh yeah.
Who's Dr. Clark?
It was like a
scientist.
track suit. It was like a.
It was like powder blue and powder pink.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
It was like a gender reveal coat gone wrong.
But I liked all of Ardra's costumes, and I actually thought that the chief jackass there, Jared, I thought his outfit was all right.
I like to think they actually have like a creature on their planet that is that shade of blue with the spots, and then it's not just dyed.
Yeah, who did I say looked good in that? Oh, that was the last episode.
Data, because he always looks good.
That's true. Last episode, I thought that the warden looked really good in the uniform.
Yeah.
But that was last episode, so we don't need to go there.
Now, is there a reason why Crusher didn't appear in either of these episodes?
I expected that she was going to take her form when
Well,
she
me
was
too.
like, I can be anybody you want.
That's that was the nail in the coffin for like he already figured she was a flim flam artist, but it's like. Yes, if you were really all powerful, you'd have been Beverly.
No, this was
but maybe with slightly bigger cans.
I had a big thought about Cat's Paw 1.5 million years ago with Sylvia turning into all those. Look at all the different me's you could have. This is my clown version, which is just Troy.
Oh, I forgot about clown version. But yeah, no, that I feel like was it. It's like, oh yes, no, you're definitely fake because you are here as the wrong doctor.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was their plan, but then they obviously Gates McFadden wasn't around for these shows for some reason.
I don't know. I did not see a note, but that
was she off shooting Hunt for Red October?
Was that in 91?
Well, shit, was Gates McFadden and
for like
Hunt for Red October?
We've talked about this.
They cut a lot of her scenes.
I think it sounds like the timeline is pretty close.
But maybe at this point, she may be starting to show.
Yeah, I was actually going to wonder about that too. Cause
I don't know. We're going to see her a lot more when she's a lot further along, and I feel like they have to do a lot more hiding.
Maybe she was...
Hide her behind a panel.
It was 1990, so...
I don't know, but maybe it had something to do with the fact that she just found out she was pregnant and she's maybe...
Or maybe she was barfing a lot and couldn't do it. I mean, you just feel like shit sometimes.
Medical tests. Yeah. But it could have been connected to the kid somehow.
This reminds me, though, of that, what was it, Batman Beyond or whatever, when... Was it Batman? No. What was the show or the book or the comic or the character? Was it Hugo Strange or something? Dr. Doom, I don't know, Dr. Doolittle, when he's like in Batman's mind, but then he calls him Bruce, and he's like, bitch, in my brain, I am Batman.
Oh, yeah, that was Batman Beyond. It was a character they made up for Batman Beyond, so I don't remember his name.
Okay, but that was what I was just thinking of. Because you had told me about that.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think of it. It's like...
Batman and Beyond.
Yeah, because it would have made more sense.
Batman Beyond.
Batman and Beyond.
But yeah, I was definitely expecting Beverly as well, and I was like, Troy, no.
No, that's the wrong one.
Well, she's got nice big
fine that. Like, yeah, if you're like, in the, she's not mind reading. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
She couldn't have like brought Vash or
right.
I keep forgetting the name of the lawyer from Man.
The lawyer he fucked.
So
that's her name. It's a weirdly specific name. Is that like Dances with Wolves?
So would they have actually plowed? Do you think she actually? What do you think it was just a mind game that she was playing with him, or do you think that she actually wanted to bang him?
I think she wanted to bang him.
You know, at the end, she still seemed pretty genuinely like.
I want your body, Picard.
Where she was like, you'd had more fun if you lost, or something like that.
I mean, it sounds like
she should have made the pact with Data.
He could probably still hit that. Like, probably. He's like, hey, how's that hologram thing working? Can you bring up that Klingon devil again?
Oh, I want to see that Satan. Wasn't it good Satan?
It was not. That was hysterical.
Weird, he looked like a half melted lava cake.
He just looked like somebody they would have.
Like one.
Delicious.
They just looks like somebody they'd have like advertising a Halloween store on like cable access.
Come on down to Satan's Pit, the greatest Halloween store in the country.
And frog.
Oh man.
What?
A Funny or Die video or College Humor video where this old guy is like, he's like a New Yorker and he's like, come on down, I got all these fucking costumes. That's all. It's hilarious to explain it to you.
God, it predates YouTube, I think. Like, it's on YouTube now.
It's old as fuck,
but
that one.
Yeah,
it's not quite badger, mushroom, but it's pretty old.
Yeah, it's up there.
Here's a question I randomly had, and for no good reason at all. Why don't they have more conference calls on the view screen? I think we've seen one, and it was an Okana episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where they have a split screen?
Yeah, or either have a split screen or be able to take a call from your office and also have it play on the bridge so that you don't have to go to the bridge.
Yeah, we can
to
do that shit with cable, for Christ's sake.
It would be kind of weird, because remember, according to Liz, those have depth they're like projected.
Yeah.
They're like, remember she said that?
No, I don't.
Liz
Yeah,
says
it was-
a lot of things.
She said it's. I don't remember what her rationale for it was, but she's like, yeah, there's. Oh, it's because when you see it from different angles, like the angles make sense. It doesn't just
Oh, yeah.
But they have done it, so it is possible.
yeah.
Well, maybe because in the future they have found that the personal touch is better, and
Actually, that was not to go back, but briefly, one thing I noticed
you're like, the warden did look good in that
they,
uniform.
they were like, oh man, let's not build another bridge. Let's just have the warden calling them from his bedroom.
I told you never to call me on this wall.
Although, to their credit, that was not just some, like, redressed Enterprise D bedroom. It was its own distinct bedroom, so good for them on that. But yeah, it was clearly just a way to avoid, one, having another bridge, and two, having to have extras be the crew of the Phoenix.
Yeah, for about a good chunk of that episode, I was like, is he the only one on this ship? Is he pulling a Bev and Picard where they've never needed anyone
We
before?
don't need anybody else, yeah. Weird.
But yeah, I think it's probably just narrative overriding sense, again, where it's just like they want, important things to happen on the bridge, so...
What's up with, speaking of weird costumes, what's up with Picard's nightie, huh?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It's a little short, I thought.
He was
Those
really,
are super
really
short
lucky that
shorts.
Data brought him a uniform, and the war humor scene was a little too much for me. But Data brings him a uniform, which is lucky, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get back to the ship, because it
True.
quote-unquote vanished.
I'm sure he could have borrowed some pants.
Could have borrowed a horrible jumpsuit from the scientist.
He would have just made Data give him his clothes.
Yep, Data just walks around
Yes,
naked.
please.
But Patrick Stewart looks bad in yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Data looks good in nothing, so who cares?
Um,
Fucking A. Priorities, people.
and like, I don't know, every time they show Picard sleeping, I can't help but be like, that is the worst. Because he's always sleeping flat on his back, but he's like always got his like head in some plants.
Yeah, what was going on with that?
In what?
Like he's
not noticed
He's
yet?
got all these plants at the
Like
head
a
of his
fucking
bed.
flower
And then
crown.
He wants really fresh oxygen. It's the future version of a CPAP.
He sleeps weirdly.
I will say, though, I did appreciate that his pillow and his blanket were sparkly. It was like a little TOS connection there. Doesn't look comfortable, but it looks sparkly. But yeah, I thought that too. It looked like his head was in his fucking planter. It's like, dude.
Listen,
hell?
don't...
He wanted to be closer to Livingston.
Got a good close-up on him. But I think that was the last episode
Yeah,
as well.
it was.
Damn it.
Good fish acting.
From Livingston J. Fish.
Yep. So, yeah, that's about all I got for these. Anything else?
It's like more than I had for it. It's just...
Yeah, like the first episode was a bit more thought-provoking than the second one, which was just kind of...
Yeah, the second one is just Arthur C. Clarke's third law, which is that any advanced technology is always indistinguishable from magic.
Yep.
Magic.
Oh, that was one thing I did appreciate, though, that they were like, could this be Q? Nah, just cuz.
Q wouldn't do contracts. I'm like, damn straight.
Yeah. But it was good that they did acknowledge, because sometimes you do have that, like, one thing that annoys me with Star Trek is sometimes you're like, crazy shit happens and everyone's like, that doesn't seem believable. It's like, do you not see the universe you
sci-fi.
exist in? So at least they were like, took a moment to explain why they felt like, no, this isn't crazy advanced alien species, even though we see those every other week. They at least justified it and didn't just go, this is impossible! Because again,
Inconceivable!
Q, the Organians,
The
Trelane.
list is as long as your arm.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Grow another arm.
No.
They called Ardra a flim-flam artist, which made me
yeah.
happy.
Flim Flam is so fun to
Such
say.
a good word.
Yeah, Flim Flam is good.
I love that they're pretending con men don't exist anymore. I've been studying the art of the con.
Data, access your memory banks for con artists.
Yeah, and again, it's just like, like Harry Mudd probably only died like 80 years ago, people. Come on.
I'm picturing him...
He's frozen in carbonite somewhere.
He's looking up con artists, and what he actually finds is a really nice portrait of Con Noonien Singh.
The one that what's her name
McGivers
painted?
did, yeah.
Also, haven't we encountered other people running cons in TNG?
Lucian from Magic to Make Us 2.
Yes. The Ferengi.
Yeah,
That
the
other
Ferengi.
god that we met.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a way, the Packleds are kind of con men.
True, they were. I'm saying, yeah, it's not this forgotten art.
Yeah.
Well, but, the Federation is living in a post-scarcity world. And they are post-scarcity girls. So maybe they don't have as many con men in the Federation because everybody's got what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Federation they just call them admirals.
Yes.
Really.
Nice.
That's what it really is.
I liked how they briefly, where they were trying to figure out what Ardra was. They're like, oh, could she be a member of the Q continuum? And someone was like, oh, could it just be Q? And then they're like, no, Q would never deal with contracts.
You just said that like
Wow,
5 minutes
Jake.
ago.
Yeah.
Was I spacing out?
Yes.
You must have.
You were in Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a good one. Kate.
All right, Ardra, is she plant, animal, or mineral?
Q.
But I loved how there was that scene when they were trying to figure out what she was, and they were like, "Oh, maybe she's a member of the Continuum." And then
In fact,
somebody
maybe
was like,
she's
"Well,
Q.
maybe she's just Q," and they're like, "Well, Q would never deal with contracts."
This is like gotten all like, what's that Chris Nolan movie? You know, the one I mean. Inception.
I was gonna say it's like that episode we haven't gotten to yet with the time loop.
Come on now, we don't.
Are you Kelsey Grammer?
Oh
Will
my
you
God!
sign
that
my
would
bottle of Merlot?
Hold on, let
Here's
me
the
see.
thing.
Am I Kelsey Grammer? Hey, baby, I feel.
I was gonna say that
Hey,
was.
baby, I feel the.
Don't worry. You can sing it next week too.
Nope, I'm not Kelsey
For those
Grammer.
of you at home,
Sacagawea?
because this is an audio medium, before he started singing, Jake was feeling up his pectoral muscles for some reason. It was very strange.
That's where my inner Kelsey Grammer is.
in your nipples.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you keep your inner Kelsey Grammer?
I don't have an inner Kelsey Grammer. I have an inner David Hyde Pierce, and he lives in my thyroid.
I would
Hey,
expect him
baby, I
to.
feel
Never
the
mind.
blues are called in toss eggs.
Did I ever tell you
An
guys
old-fashioned
that?
egg roll, eh?
Oh no! Did I ever tell you that I had a crush on David Hyde Pierce?
David Hasselhoff?
No.
I don't hassle the Hoff.
Who's David Hyde Pierce?
David Hyde
Niles.
Pierce was Niles from
Niles.
Frasier.
Okay, so it sounds like a serial killer's name.
I feel like, well, yes, it does actually. You're quite right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a thing for him.
That's fair.
I was like, no, he's not gay. He's gay.
You think about Mark David Chapman.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
He was just denied parole for the 10th time the other day. So now,
Really?
listeners, you
10th
can
time?
roughly figure out when this was recorded. All right, we're talking about serial killers.
We want dinner.
He wasn't a serial killer. He
Go
was
on,
just an assassin.
That's true, but
I always thought it was weird that Charles Manson got put away for life, even though he did not actually kill anybody.
well, yeah, but I mean, he like incited it, didn't he?
Yeah, he
was
sure
a
did.
cult
He
leader
brainwashed
that-
a bunch of women,
yeah.
but like, is that? I mean,
He's also
Didn't he give the order?
incredibly
yeah, he
insane.
gave the order, but
He's
So,
very, very
That's
insane.
super a crime.
Yeah, did Hitler personally kill anyone?
Probably not.
no, himself, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And for that, he should be given a pardon because whoever kills Hitler couldn't be an evil man.
This is getting weird. Let's wrap up
Yeah,
the episode.
let's get out of here. But this has turned into something strange.
Let's Jake us the fuck out of here.
No, I'm not saying we should pardon Hitler. He's pretty bad. A real jerk.
He's pretty bad.
He's a real...
But he loved his sweets.
Yes, the
Yeah.
German dictator known for his sweet tooth.
Yeah, look up Führerkuchen if you don't know what we're talking about.
Oh,
Have you
man.
ever told that story on this podcast?
No, I don't think so.
It
Maybe
sounds delicious.
maybe on the
It
100th
does.
episode, maybe Jake can tell us a nice story
Führerkuchen.
about Führerkuchen.
But for now, what's happening in episode 99, Jake?
The 99 restaurant, great
The
meal.
99.
In episode 99 of A Shawshank
Shawshank Redemption?
A Shawshank Redemption, we're going to be talking about 2 additional episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation.
2 whole episodes?
Two of
Never
them.
do that.
That's
First.
so weird.
And possibly many tangents as well.
First,
Inconceivable.
the crew has to follow the clues.
Blues Clues.
Blues Clues. In Clues is the name of the episode.
Because we're really smart.
Ha, nailed it.
And followed by First Contact.
Not that one.
Wait a minute.
Motherfuckers
Isn't that a film title?
Love recycling titles.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they have called it Resistance is Futile?
It'll make sense when you see the movie.
No, it won't.
Yeah, but there are many other titles they could have picked.
Why don't they
Yeah,
just
there
call
are.
it OMFG the Borg?
Yeah. That's a good title.
Thank you.
How about Star Trek
How about-
Fist Contact?
How about, fuck, we couldn't get Tom Hanks.
So we will be talking about First Contact and
The
Clues
episode. The other
next
episode.
week on Star Trek The Next Generation,
To steer her
A
by.
Star to Steer Her By.com. Until then,
/Tom Hanks.
until then, find us on your local internet provider.
My first local internet provider when I was a kid was a place that it was called Digital Entropy. I don't know why I remember
What a
that.
terrible
Because
name.
all like
But I
ISPs,
just remembered because you said
all
that shit.
ISPs used to be run by nerds pretty much. And they would call it nerdy stuff.
Is Digital Entropy nerdy?
It sounds nerdy.
It does, yeah.
Sounds fucking stupid.
I think
Ooh. Oh, white cat.
yeah, our
White
we
cat
had
is
one.
here.
We had that. I guess this was a bulletin board, a BBS, but we had one called Argus, named after the
dog from the
dog
Odyssey?
from the Odyssey.
At least it wasn't Armus.
That's true.
Okay, now we're getting
Armus Brooks.
We're getting bored.
Yeah, where else
Wrap
can
it
you
up.
find us?
You can find us online at Argus Bulletin Board. Dial 1-617.
Sometimes you can find us
point your
behind
modem.
the couch.
Yeah, you can find us online at soundcloud.com. Search for Star to Steer Her By. You can also find us on Facebook, also on Twitter, and Tumblr too. SSHB Podcast, one word, no underscore. SSHB Podcast.Twitter on Twitter.com. We're also available to download on iTunes and Google iTunes. Search for A Star to Steer Her By, our name of our podcast. And if you find us, write us a nice 5-star review or a mean review, whatever you want.
As long as you give us 5 stars.
Send us a message on Facebook. Write to on our wall about us. Here's a topic for conversation. Ardra, devil or con artist?
Jake.
The episode already settled that. But if you want to have more thoughts on it, please let us know.
Also, before any of you can jump in, I did look it up. An early draft called it Star Trek Resurrection, but they changed it because Alien Resurrection came out.
Also, you can't spell resurrection without
First
erection. So that's
It's also
all.
insurrection, which has erection.
But it's
Yeah,
a
because that's
terrible
because
movie.
Picard gets a big erection in that movie.
Well, we'll see it soon.
I wish I was insurrection.
Anyway,
I think that's all I got. So my name's been Jake.
this has been Chris.
This has been Ames,
And this is always Caitlin.
Bye bye.
and the white cat is here getting a tongue rub.
That's why that thumping was.
Oh, little Ardra.
He got Caitlin in the face.
No, he just almost did. He wasn't into that, so we stopped. And if you win, you get this fiddle made of gold.
That's right. And the captain said, well, my name's Jean-Luc, and it may be a sin, but I'll take that bet you're going to regret. I'm the best that's ever been.
Found the mountain, run, boys, run.
Yes.
All right, glad we could have this
All
moment.
right. Well, we knew it was coming. We weren't going to get through that without a
It
devil,
only
devil goes down to
literally
Georgia.
just occurred to me that it was
Yeah,
necessary.
no, not gonna lie, did not occur to me
It
at
did
all.
not. It did not.
Really?
Come to me until,
Well
like,
done,
just
folks.
this second, I was like, okay, here we go. It's time.